As you breathe in, how do you think does that oxygen get transported around your body? Or, as you ate your lunch earlier, how are the nutrients you have digested get transported around your body? Well, actually, all living organisms need a way to move nutrients, gases, water, and waste within their bodies. But how is this process made possible? It is through the process of circulation and transportation. What is circulation or transportation? Circulation or transportation refers to the flow and distribution of essential substances, including oxygen, water, blood, nutrients, minerals, hormones, and metabolic and waste products throughout a living organism, such as animals and plants. According to Claude Bernard in 1866, it is designed to ensure the survival of all cells of the living organism at every moment. In animals, this is made feasible through a designated circulatory system, whereas in plants, this happens through vascular tissues. So how does transportation work in plants? Plants, unlike animals, do not have a centralized circulatory system with a heart and blood vessels. Instead, they utilize the process of transportation. Transportation is a vital process among plants. It involves the movement of water and necessary nutrients to all parts of the plant for its survival. The plant is generally divided into roots, stem, and leaves. The roots are in the soil, which is the major source of nutrients in plants. Water and other nutrients enter the plant through the roots. On the other hand, the leaves are the food production centers of plants. Using the sunlight and carbon dioxide, they synthesize food through photosynthesis in the chloroplasts. Now, food from the leaves along with water and other nutrients have to reach the other parts of the plant as well. All of these take place through the vascular tissues of the plants. Transportation relies on two specialized vascular tissues, the xylem and the phloem. These tissues form a continuous network throughout the plant, facilitating the efficient movement of vital substances. They begin at the root and then move up to the stem, branches, and leaves. What are the roles of xylem and phloem in transportation in plants? Xylem, composed of dead cells with thickened walls, is a long, non-living tube running from the roots to the leaves through the stem. It acts as a conduit for water and dissolved minerals absorbed from the soil. The water is absorbed by the root hair and undergoes cell-to-cell movement by osmosis until it reaches the xylem. This water is then transported through the xylem vessels to the leaves and is evaporated by the process of transpiration. Moreover, the xylem tissue has tracheids and vessel elements. This structure ensures that water can reach even the highest branches of a tree, providing essential hydration for photosynthesis and other metabolic processes. On the other hand, phloem is responsible for transporting nutrients and sugar-like carbohydrates, which are produced by the leaves during photosynthesis, to the areas of the plant that are metabolically active. These substances move through the phloem via a process called translocation, which is driven by pressure gradients created by the loading and unloading of sugars at different locations within the plant. Unlike xylem, phloem consists of living cells that form a continuous network. Phloem tissue contains companion cells and sieve plates. For a more comprehensive understanding, here is the link to the video that elaborates the function of xylem and phloem in transportation in plants. Examples of transportation in plants. In tall trees, as shown in figure 1.4, water can travel up to hundreds of feet through the xylem vessels. Water is being pulled up through the xylem by the process of transpiration, which is the evaporation of water from the leaves. On the other hand, As illustrated in Figure 1.5, the phloem transports sucrose from the leaves to the roots, where it is stored as starch. Circulation in animals. Animal circulatory systems are far more complex than those found in plants. These systems are characterized by the presence of a central pump, usually a heart, which propels a fluid called blood throughout the body. Blood serves as a vital transport medium, carrying oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste products. The structure and function of animal circulatory systems vary greatly depending on the organism's size, complexity, and lifestyle. The open circulatory system is mostly common to mollusks and arthropods. Meanwhile, the closed circulatory system is mostly common in vertebrates and a few invertebrates. Examples of vertebrates include humans, dogs, and cats. The next one is the closed circulatory system. In this system, the blood is circulated unidirectionally from the heart around the body and back to the heart. This delivers oxygen and nutrients to cells and removes waste products. In a closed circulatory system, blood never leaves the blood vessels. Instead, it is being continuously transferred from one blood vessel to another without entering a cavity. With this, blood is not in direct contact with the tissues. Hence, the nutrients are exchanged via tissue fluid, mainly through the process of diffusion, in which they pass from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. In the case of exchange in capillaries, oxygen and nutrients diffuse from the blood into the tissues, and waste products diffuse from the tissues into the blood. Examples of circulation in animals. In closed circulatory systems, the heart pumps blood through vessels that are separate from the interstitial fluid of the body. Most vertebrates and some invertebrates, like this annelid earthworm, have a closed circulatory system. Meanwhile, in open circulatory systems, a fluid called hemolymph is pumped through a blood vessel that empties into the body cavity. Hemolymph returns to the blood vessel through openings called ostia. Arthropods like these bee and most mollusks have open circulatory systems. Adaptation and evolution of transport system in plants. Historically, all life had evolved in the ocean. Dry land was a very different kind of place, and the biggest problem was the dryness. Hence, colonization of the land was a huge step in plant evolution. Before, plants used plasmodesmata to connect the cytoplasm of adjacent cells. However, this system was not efficient for long-distance transportation of substances. With this, plants evolved a number of adaptations that helped them cope with these problems on dry land. One of the earliest and most important was the evolution of vascular tissues. Vascular tissues form a plant's circulatory or plumbing system. They carry water and minerals from soil to leaves for photosynthesis. They also carry food, such as sugar dissolved in water, from photosynthetic cells to other cells in the plant for growth or storage. The evolution of vascular tissues revolutionized the plant kingdom. These tissues allowed plants to grow large and endure periods of drought in harsh land environments. In addition to vascular tissues, these early plants evolved other adaptations to life on land, including lignin, leaves, roots, and a change in their life cycle. Adaptation and evolution of transport system in animals. Different animal groups have evolved unique adaptations in their circulatory systems to meet their specific needs. For instance, fish, amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds all have closed circulatory systems. However, there are significant differences in the structure of the heart and the circulation of blood between the different vertebrate groups. As illustrated in Figure A, fishes have a single circuit for blood flow and a two-chambered heart that has only a single atrium and a single ventricle. Gill circulation is present in fishes. On the other hand, as shown in Figure B, amphibians have a three-chambered heart that has two atria and one ventricle rather than the two-chambered heart of fish. For this reason, amphibians are often described as having double circulation. Most reptiles also have a three-chambered heart, similar to the amphibian heart that directs blood to the pulmonary and systemic circuits as shown in Figure A. However, some primitive reptiles such as alligators and crocodiles exhibit a four-chambered heart. As for Figure B, in mammals and birds, the heart is divided into four chambers, two atria and two ventricles. The oxygenated blood is separated from the deoxygenated blood, which improves the efficiency of double circulation and is probably required for the warm-blooded lifestyle of mammals and birds. The four-chambered heart of birds and mammals evolved independently from a three-chambered heart. Hence, it is referred to as convergent evolution. Here is a table that summarizes the key differences between plants and animals in regards with transportation and circulation. In system type, plants utilize a vascular system containing xylem and phloem. Meanwhile, animals utilize a circulatory system that can be divided into two, open or closed. The key components of transportation in plants include the xylem and phloem. On the other hand, the key components of circulation in animals include the heart, blood vessels, and blood. Moreover, the main function of transportation in plants is to transport nutrients, water, and sugars for survival and growth. However, the main function of circulation in animals is to efficiently distribute oxygen, digested food, carbon dioxide, water, and other nutrients while removing waste products within the body. Lastly, plants evolved vascular tissues, lignin, leaves, and roots that enabled them to thrive on land. On the contrary, heart structures between different vertebrate groups evolved. Two chambers in fishes, three in amphibians and reptiles, and four in mammals and birds. That wraps up today's lesson. We hope you learned something from our presentation. This has been Muhammad Hazeg C. Mashul, and together with Julie Kadungon, Princess Guem Cuevas, Princess Janelle C. Catanos, and Brit Jeff O. Medalla, we are the Group 4. That would be it, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye!